Hello, my wonderful 1585ers. It's me coming back at you once again. It is August 6th, 2025. And I'm heading out for another day of making pennies. And first stop will be a car wash. Pretty nutty looking clouds out there. I don't know. Maybe it's telling me not to get a car wash today. Nonetheless, I have no choice. It sits underneath a tree next to some garbage cans and recycle bins, and so car wash it is. Let me begin today with a yours truly rant. At the same time, I'm giving you a demonstration on FSD supervised. Full self-driving supervised. Remember that little add-on, supervised. So one thing I want to start off with is this. Tesla has been sued, and the judge awarded a multi-hundred-million-dollar award to the family of an individual. Now, the individual did not have full self-driving supervised. Not even full self-driving supervised. And he was awarded this multi-hundred-million-dollar award. There was no claim that his car was capable of driving itself without causing any kind of harm or aggravation. Even autopilot tells you, keep your hands on the wheel, you must accept responsibility, all that good stuff. Still, the judge awarded a multi-hundred-million-dollar award. So here's what happened. Buddy's driving along. He says he's using autopilot, which autopilot's fine. It's just like cruise control on any other car. And if you were driving in cruise control somewhere and you weren't watching, or you were ducking down to pick up your phone that was on the ground, which is what he was doing, he dropped his phone and he was down fumbling around to get it. And he said, but I thought autopilot would keep me protected. Well, I'm sorry, buddy. That's a crock of poo. You had to say okay to the terms and conditions. You know every time you engage it, it says keep your hands on the wheel. You're responsible for the car no matter what happens. But okay, let's just say, let's leave that aside for a second. You drop your phone. You're reaching and fumbling around your feet trying to find your phone. You run through a red light with your foot on the accelerator, and you smash into an SUV, killing one, and I believe injuring the other. Okay, if we're on the same page so far, that's good. What do you think so far? Who's responsible? Should there be a multi-hundred-million-dollar award to anybody? Maybe to Tesla for trying to ruin their reputation. How's that? I don't think there should be an award to anybody but the Tesla. Okay. So this guy, not only did he do what he did, when the police came, what did he tell them? I dropped my phone and I was reaching for the phone and I'm so sorry. Admitting guilt. Yet, this activist judge decides to award a multi-$100 million award. Again, folks, look at that for what it's worth. Absolute garbage. But guess what? Of course Tesla's appealing it, and of course they're going to win, as every notable legal academic out there is saying. There is no law in the world that would refer to that. So, based on the information I just gave you, knowing there's an appeal coming, the general consensus is no harm, no foul. Tesla will suffer nothing from this. But, because of the hype, which is going to be massive hype, because all these news outlets are going to carry this story about Tesla loses battle, autopilot, blah, 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 blah. Well, that would mean that everybody out there who has ever had an accident on cruise control, go back and sue the company that made the car. And use the same judge. At least you'll be temporarily a multi-millionaire, because once the appeal hits, you'll get nothing. Okay, sorry, I did take over there because it wanted to go a different route that I just don't like. So I took over. I'm terribly sorry, and I didn't realize until just then that I'm still driving. In this day and age, with Tesla FSD supervised, the need to drive is like so far and few between. Okay, while you're watching this vehicle do its miracle, there is an amazing turn of events. Way back in 2015, when I saw that orange individual come down the escalators and proclaim the things that came out of his mouth that day, I made some predictions. Those predictions are now all coming true. All of them. All of them. Every last one of the major nasty predictions I made are coming true now. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a lot of coverage going on now about race wars. In many different cities in the United States of America, there are race wars going on. People are getting in other people's faces, feeling emboldened to do so in a way that is unbecoming. And there have been some really major fights going on because of it. And I can just tell you, there's a lot more to come. I predicted it. I told you guys what was coming. The thing that tickles me the most is that when you tell people what's coming and they poo-hoo you and tell you you're a conspiracy theorist and you don't know what you're talking about and blah, 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 and then when things happen, do you think those people ever come back and say, I'm so sorry for calling you a conspiracy theorist? I totally understand now. I totally believe what you were saying. And then we're going to go further. Not only did I predict the race wars, I also predicted the possibility. Okay, that was too close for me. It looked like it was going to make it, but it was way too close. And as you could see, for me to take over, I had to really crank the wheel, which is what I would do normally. So again, it would have made it, but I'm not willing to go that route. I guess I'll let it take over again, eh? But it always tries to go in this left turning lane, which I don't like. Okay, so I predicted the race wars, which are starting, and are starting to escalate, and they're being covered finally. I also predicted wars, and although all I heard out of his mouth was, "Oh my, I'm the president of peace. Peace, peace, it's going to be peace. Always peace." As you can see, it's trying to go back into that left turning lane, even though it knows we're going straight. And that's those are two turning lanes there. Anyway, I'm aware of the fact that they are not doing any work on this version of FSD because the same things continue to happen. Until we get a dot release, we've been getting a lot of little updates, which are, they say, minor bug fixes, etc., etc., etc. But until we get a dot release, I don't think these things are going to change. Constantly tries again to get in this left lane coming up, which again is a left turning lane, and because of construction, there's the lane up ahead of us, which should be a left turning lane, is being used for oncoming traffic. But this time it would have done the right thing by going in the left lane because of this truck. But as you can see, this is a left turning lane, and ahead of us is used for oncoming traffic. Okay, we should be okay now. Sorry, those are first world problems. Really not any safety related situations, but still annoying. And until we get upgraded, I'm sure it's going to continue that way. Okay, back at her, guys. The President of Peace has been engaged in every single war that's going on in and around our world now. Even though he tries to keep arm's length by saying, "Oh no, all I want is peace. I'm trying to broker peace. I'm brokering peace." He hasn't brokered any peace. All of these countries that have started their little prodding and poking, they've been doing that for years, and they seem to be adult enough not to take it to the next level. So he did nothing except stoke the flames of war. Right now, I don't know if you know, if you've been following, but we are on the verge of nuclear war. And I know that sounds really harsh, and everybody will say, "Oh, come on, that's a little much, isn't it?" And I'll say, no, it's not. Because you know what? When you have a bimbo putting out in the public sphere that, I've allocated these 2 nuclear subs out to appropriate areas, just in case anybody's thinking. You are now saying you're getting in strategic positioning with nuclear assets. Now, I don't know, if you were the other country, what would you be thinking or doing right now? Would you be sitting on your thumbs going, it's only a toy sub? Or maybe it's just a sub from Subway, and he's floating it so it'll land somewhere where people are starving and being purposely starved and murdered while they're looking for food. So I'll launch this submarine sandwich in that direction, and that's my bluff. Like, folks, if you don't realize that what I've been predicting all the way along is the reality of our world today, well, I apologize for your situation. And I hope that it repairs itself one day, soon. That you become aware, more aware, not hyper aware. I don't want you to live in a life of stress, because you know what? If we have a nuclear war, you're only going to know about it for a couple of seconds. It won't be long before you won't know about it anymore. So really, it doesn't matter to you, does it? But just know, I saw it coming. I tried to tell everybody, smarten up. Don't allow these government people to stomp all over our world and our lives without pushing back. And I hear from a lot of you who like to speak privately, you don't want to get involved. You don't want anything to do with all that stress. You're sick and tired of hearing all the stress. You don't want nothing to do with standing up and rebelling or causing any waves because you just want to live. Well, we won't live if it occurs, now will we? And if we survive, we're not going to want to have been the ones to survive. Think about that for a second. And then get involved. Start doing some research. Start letting people know what the hang is going on. Spread the information around. Okay. There were a number of predictions I said that. Oh, that was loud. Cutting up the stream. Okay, here's one of the biggest predictions I put out there, and I hope you guys are at least following this enough to know that I was 100% right. If you're following the news now, you know all about tariffs, don't you? Yeah, I thought you would. You also know that almost every country in the world is being hit with tariffs or being forced to commit to unreasonable terms that are going to hurt each and every country out there. Do you remember way back in the day when we used to say, oh man, if we were in Europe, oh, everything they do is to protect their people. They're constantly making sure that products are proper, that don't contain poisons, that you can eat and consume without worrying about, you know, the things we have to worry about in North America. Pesticides and all these things all over our foods. And like we used to look up to Europe for its progressive stance on taking care of its people. Oh, that's gone away too. They don't give two you-know-whats about their people. They're spending their money frivolously and not in a way where they're going to get anything back from it. If you don't know what I mean, I'm going to again encourage you to do your own research, because if you're just watching the mainstream media, you're getting filled with a bunch of you-know-what. And I don't know any person in the world that needs to be fertilized in order to grow. We don't need fertilizer. So stop eating the fertilizer and start to do some of your own research. And what you're going to find is everything I've been telling you. These tariffs and these wars going on, economic wars, are going to put the United States of America and, by proxy, Canada and Europe in a situation that they cannot, well, I won't say they cannot come back from. I don't think they will, though, because they're unwilling to admit when they're wrong. So, this was my other prediction, folks, in a nutshell. I said, because the United States produces nothing in the way of actual products that can be sold worldwide, they're going to have no choice but to source themselves out as the police of the world. That means they will exercise nothing but their military might. With all these countries putting in 5% of their GDP into NATO, which of course we know is actually into the United States industrial military-industrial complex, 5% of all those countries in Europe, all their GDPs, the NATO countries, are going to be going into NATO, and therefore the military-industrial complex of the United States of America. This is going to become their role in the world to sustain themselves. I wasn't wrong then. I'm not wrong now. And remember, I said this 10 years ago. You could say, oh, well, you know what? You could say anything. That, you know what, 10 years ago, you could have said, the world's going to come to an end. And eventually, you'd be right. Well, I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you today, and I would have told you the same thing 10 years ago, the world's not coming to an end. We might come to an end, but the world's not coming to an end. The world will purge itself. The world will purge itself while we're gone. It will repair all the damage that we have tried to commit. So, folks, that's my rant for today. And tried to keep it impersonal. I tried to keep it with the temperature cool rather than let it get heated. And I'm going to tell you, again, start doing your own research, because those people who were saying before, oh, don't do your own research, that's for dummies. They used other words, but that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to say, do your own research, because that's for smart people. You listen to all sides, you figure out who's filling you with fertilizer, and then you start to make your decisions based on the median that you come up with. Anyway, folks, listen, stay safe, stay healthy, and above all, stay as happy as humanly possible. And like I said, don't worry. If we go to nuclear war, you'll only know about it for a little while. And then you won't know about it anymore. So, not to worry. If you're okay with that, leaving no future for our grandkids and great-grandkids and so on, then just go on and do nothing. Alright? But you 1585ers, we know what you'll be doing. You will definitely be doing your own research, because that is the only way we gather our knowledge, and knowledge is the only power we will ever have in this realm. So don't give up your power, folks. Research the hang out of everything. Question everything. Come up with your own answers, and don't be afraid to turn around and say, I was wrong. I think I'm going to change my opinion now. That's the sign of a strong, smart individual. All right, talk to you folks later. Enjoy.